So the welcome to Subramani, and the caveat first. I am more like a GP to you, or less than even a general practitioner. I can give you ideas. Actual implementation, go to the expert. So if I tell you you have to invest in mutual funds, go to a mutual fund specialist. I am not one, right? I can invest my own money, but don't come and ask me, I have invested in this fund, is it a good fund? People ask me that question day in and day out. I have no clue. I don't track fund. I don't track 42 fund houses. I don't track 42,000 schemes that they have, right? So I'm not, I don't even know you, so there is no way how I can give you that advice. I can tell you that income tax returns have to be filed, but I can't file a return. Yes, once upon a time I was a chartered accountant. Is that a better way of saying it? But I no longer am updated. I used to go to the tribunal. I used to go to the company law board for cases. Today I don't know how to even form a company, and I must have formed more than 1,000 companies. And today I have no clue whether the ROC is in Marine Lines or in Lower Parel. When I say you have to make a will, I still suggest that you go to a lawyer and file and make a will. Don't go to a MFD or an IFA and ask him for a will format, which is available on Google. That's the stupidest thing to do. As a person running a blog, at best I can guide you saying you have to do this. It does not make me an expert to guide you. I can only do finger pointing, saying idhar jao, that kind of a thing. Beyond that, I am absolutely useless. I am irrelevant in your life beyond telling you that this needs to be done. Why this caveat? Because people listen half, they understand 1/10, and they implement in such a slipshod way. I know one lady who heard that it is worth going direct, so she went direct and paid so much of capital gains tax without knowing how to do it, right? So if you don't know how to do it, don't do it. Don't try doing it on your own, whether it is being a DIY investor or filing a return or making your will. There are specialists available, go to them, because each one is a specialized area. Now I'm going to talk to you a little about gifting. Suppose you have parents and you are helping them, you are sending them 15,000 rupees a month, right? That's the shortage that your parents have in their pension or in their total income, and you're sending them 1,80,000 per annum or 15,000 per month. Should you be sending them 15,000 per month? I have a better idea. You can get, let us assume for a minute that you can get 10% return, which means to get 1,80,000 they need 18 lakhs. It makes a lot of sense for you to give money to them and ask them to invest, and so that you don't have to pay tax on that. So if 18 lakhs of income were to come into your hands, and assume for a minute that you are in the 40% tax bracket, you're going to pay too much of tax, right? About 7-8 lakhs of tax you will pay. So you need to get 25-30 lakhs of income, pay tax, and then give it to them. Whereas if you gave away the capital, you will have an advantage that the income will go to them, and after that the capital will come back to you after their lifetime. So how would you do this? You would just open a senior citizen account for them with 15 lakhs each. Or whatever each, and then you will make sure that you are you will get the money back after their lifetime is over. Now this is easy, and if you are a only son, or you have one sibling who is in US, so you know that she or he is not going to come and tell you what you're doing, presumably. Now, if you have 5-6 children and each person is helping them to some extent, then this option may not be a great option, because you do not know what will happen to the money after their death. If it's relevant for you, if it is irrelevant for you, then you don't have to bother. In such cases, what you can do is make sure that you get your parents to make a will, but still transfer the capital rather than just transferring the income. Can you do this with your children? Answer is yes. Suppose you have a portfolio which is bulging with a lot of money, which means you have bought shares for 100 rupees and today it is worth 2,000 rupees, or 20 times or 30 times or 10 times, 15 times. Your portfolio has gone up. What can you do? And you have a 15-year-old daughter. transfer shares worth say 4-5 lakhs to your daughter, knowing that out of that 4 lakhs is gain. So she's 15, you have transferred. The day she's 18 or 19, you can start selling those shares. Remember, up to 1 lakh is tax free, long-term capital gain. So she will have a long-term capital gain on which she will pay no tax. You will have your long-term capital gain on which you will pay no tax on 1 lakh. But if you have a very big portfolio, it doesn't, that 1 lakh can become insignificant. Similarly, your spouse can have 1 lakh. If you have 2 children, then you're talking of 4 lakhs of annual capital gains being tax-free. Believe me, it is more than sufficient for 99% of India's investors, right? If you are in the top 1% and you're holding 10 crores, 20 crores worth of portfolio, this is not very relevant, but even then it is still okay, because over 10 years it means about 40-50 lakhs. What is the other advantage of doing this? You can always tell your daughter you need to pay fees, sell some shares and pay fees because it's going to be tax free. What would have you done in your case? You would have sold the shares, paid the capital gains and paid her fees. Now here what you have done, again, just like how you would give money to your parents, you have transferred the capital instead of transferring the income. On your income you will pay tax. So whether it is dividend income or capital gains or whatever, you will pay tax on that. Whereas when you transfer it to somebody with a lower tax bracket, I'm assuming for a minute that your parents are on a lower tax bracket and your daughter at 15 is obviously on a zero tax bracket. Right, what you do by this is you also shift dividend income, and the dividend income is going to be clubbed in your income till she becomes a major, which means another 2-3 years. And the dividend income is very, very insignificant today with a booming market. If it is going to be 1%, and if you have transferred say 18 lakhs worth of assets and 1% of that is 18,000, that's irrelevant. So if you have transferred 18 lakhs to your daughter at the age of 15, at the age of 18, 19, let's say she is doing MBBS, for the next 12 years she needs money. Let's say she needs about 5 lakhs a year, or she needs about 7 lakhs a year. Over the next 12 years, that is about 1 crore of rupees. You have already transferred some shares. She can sell something every year and pay for her fees. Right? You are of course there as a backup. You will have some money in your liquid account, in your ultra short bond fund, etc., etc. But if the market is good, she can sell off the shares. You are going to teach her how to sell. You're going to sit with her. You're going to open a demat. You already have a demat account for her. She now knows why you're selling, why you're not selling. Suppose the markets are doing badly. You say, don't sell anything now. I will transfer money from a liquid fund, right? So she knows why you are withdrawing from equity, why you're not withdrawing from equity, right? She gets an answer to all those questions. So that's another advantage, apart from the fact that you have transferred the tax from your 40% slab to her 10% or 20% slab, or maybe in your parents' case 0% slab, right? So see how you can do it. Why am I saying all this if I am not giving you advice? I'm saying this because this will not strike your chartered accountant to do this. So it is necessary for you to take this idea, sit with your CA and ask him, is it worth doing? And then find out the answer in your case. I'm just saying very broadly that this can be done. Should you do it? Should you not do it? How should you do it? Is it irrelevant? Is it relevant? Do you have loans to be repaid which have to be paid off? Right? Then it's a question. So many other considerations have to be there. But this idea will never come to a practicing chartered accountant who is not into investments. So I'm just giving you the idea. Like how I'm telling you should make a will. I'm not telling you how to make a will. I still think you should go to a IFA who will tell you who are the people to be included, how much, etc., etc., and a lawyer who will tell you that this is the current format, this is how it should be, whether it should be notarized, whether it should be registered. Ask a lawyer. Do not ask a financial advisor. I can also give you advice and I could be completely wrong, right? The overconfidence with which I give you advice is the worry that you should have, not whether I'm right or wrong. If I'm overconfident, chances are I'm wrong, right? Thank you.